Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Daniel Dubois set out to make a statement against Joe Cusumano in his first fight in the United States, which was on the Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley undercard, and he did just that, saying in the post-fight interview, "Look at me now," and this followed a first-round demolition job of Kusamano, dropping the American who entered the fight with a 19-3 record, dropping him 3 times en route to a stoppage. So really not too much to say about the performance, but he did call out Trevor Bryan after the fight. So we'll get to some of his post-fight comments in a moment. We'll just go through the fight very briefly. Actually, the post-fight comments, the interview is probably longer than the fight. So anyway, the action proper, Daniel Dubois comes forward, stalking Joe Cusumano, and within a minute, he's dropped him with a right hand, a big right, finds the target, he's on the canvas. Shortly afterwards, he's on the canvas again from another big right hand, and in between times with these right hands landing, Daniel Dubois was punching in combination, aggressive, coming forward. His father, he said in the post-fight interview, told him, go for the first round knockout, and he was going for it. And it was a pretty frenetic sort of, from the first knockdown to the third, pretty frenetic sequence. And that third knockdown, Daniel Dubois just swarming Kusamano, who was trying to counter, letting his hands go, not having much success. Did land a couple of counters in the round, but all for naught. Dropped after a series of punches, just comes in, and the referee waves it off. So Daniel Dubois, first round stoppage in his first fight in the United States. Look, it was what it was. This was a showcase fight, but he did his job here. He was meant to go in there, make a statement, look good, impress. Job done. That's pretty much all you can say about this performance, because at the end of the day, wasn't a fantastic opponent, but Joe Cusumano was a heavyweight who did have, some skills. He was big, had some durability, had never been stopped ahead of this fight. So Daniel Dubois did something no one else had ever done, although let's not go crazy with that and sort of heap praise. He just did his job, got the performance that he needed to make a bit of a splash in the United States for his first fight. And the post-fight. So he was asked, well, who do you want to fight next? What's the plan? And he said, Trevor Bryan's got a belt. I want him next. And actually this fight could happen because, as you may have seen just a week or so ago, or less than that at the time of this video, WBA got rid of interim titles. Trevor Bryan holds the regular title, which is the WBA World Champion, as it were. Daniel Dubois was the interim title holder. So the WBA, in its ruling, or the resolution that it made, said that the interim title holder, whoever had it, who was vacating that belt, would end up getting potentially against the title holder, and in this case that's Trevor Bryan. So we could actually see this fight ordered because the WBA has already laid the groundwork for all its divisions, not just heavyweight, but Daniel Dubois most likely, if the WBA follows through, will at some point be ordered to face Trevor Bryan. And let's face it, in his rebuild, because you've had Bogdan Dinu, that was a couple of months ago, he broke him down, stopped him in a couple of rounds, and then obviously now you've got Joe Cusumano, first fight in the US, blitzes him in a round. Trevor Bryan is a step up from that, but it's not such a huge step up that it's not manageable. They're still looking to guide Daniel Dubois' career and make sure that he's in the right fights at the right time. And Trevor Bryan is better than Joe Cusumano, better than Bogdan Dinu, but he's not so good that he's not unbeatable. And I don't think he presents enough challenges where Daniel Dubois will be under so much pressure that he wilts or he can't handle it. That is a good fight for Daniel Dubois at this stage of his development. Soon to turn 24. He's got 17 fights or so under the belt, somewhere there or thereabouts. He's on a rebuild. That's a right fight at the right time if they can get that next, or at least not next, the fight after, because maybe there'll be another fight in between him being ordered to face a Trevor Bryan. But that makes sense for all sorts of reasons. But he was intended to be on this card to make a statement, try to build some profile. Maybe it wasn't a crowd and an audience that necessarily follows boxing all that closely, apart from, Jake Paul, a lot of his followers, etc. But with that sort of performance, bit of hype, bit of buzz, just, insert some of that back into his career. He's not a guy that does his talking outside of the ring, does his talking inside. So that will no doubt generate some headlines and some buzz for him. And it was one of those sort of reactions from the crowd, at least. You could tell they were appreciating that performance. It was one of the loudest roars in any of the fights outside of the main event for the action that was going on. There were one or two fights, or actually there was one that I saw that they were booing. It was the Tommy Fury fight after the fight ended. Not so with this one. Daniel Dubois did his job, showed his wares, gave fans across the pond in the United States a bit of a glimpse about what he's all about. Other comments that he made in his post-fight interview, come one, come all. He said that the greatest moments are still to come. And he was asked the question, well, a lot of people, said things after your loss to Joe Joyce. What did this performance, basically show? And he said, well, look at me now. And overall, decent performance. Hard to take too much out of a one-round effort, but he was, a couple of times he was getting out of the way of these wild swinging shots. There was a bit of head movement. He was getting out of the way. He was aggressive. He did his job. What did you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.